everyone, this is Vishakha Thakur. Today I'm from today onwards, so even I'm doing that in past few days. We'll bring you the section where we will simplify the editorial for you. We'll pick up the editorial which are more important from exam perspective. We'll explain that to you in detail and even add the extra information. So let's move ahead. Moving ahead is that Afghan peace dialogue. This article will help you understand the current Afghan process, because US is withdrawing from Afghan, and because of which the turmoil has been created in the present scenario. Now, who is going to be impacted? How India should be careful, and what is the possible solution? This article discusses in detail about this. Now, first it says that the Afghan peace process is that US wanted to come up with the peace process by hosting a conference which was hosted by UN itself. So it wanted UN to host it, and in that process a peace dialogue can be established between the Afghan government and even Taliban and various other stakeholders. It broke down because Taliban didn't come on the table. But then again there is a hope, because this time Taliban has agreed. The article says that now it is not this is not important what is to be done, and not who the article says what is more important is what is to be done, and not who does it or how it is done. Article even talk about this how India and Pakistan have problem, and the countries are trying to take the credit. Everybody's interested in their own interest only, but Afghan is somewhere neglected. So Afghan is saying instead of article is saying instead of focusing on only on your interest, it is more important to focus on what is to be done, and what is to be done is bringing the peace to the Afghan. So bringing peace is very important. Now article takes a perspective of various stakeholders. So the first is American perspective. It says that for America, the foremost concern is to withdraw, and it gives the reason, because it says that so much violence has happened and it does not see a good picture of a peace coming back. In fact, it itself sees a bleak picture, and a lot of human resource in terms of soldiers and financial losses it has suffered. So now it wants to withdraw. Next is the Taliban perspective. Now Taliban is actually engaging in violence, and the reason it says that because Taliban want to convey a message that either you give it to us, or even we can use a military force to get what we want. Or it says there is a gulf in between the leaders, and that's why there is no synergy in between what is to be decided. Next is the Pakistan perspective. It says the Pakistan in the entire process want to take the credit with itself. It is also very important that Pakistan is losing an important edge in here, because when US was on foot in the Afghanistan, Pakistan was in a way manipulating, getting fun from it. Now it is losing an edge. Now new stakeholder will be there. And in case when Taliban does not have enough representative, it says that Pakistan do not have good terms with the existing Afghan government. In fact, existing Afghan government do not like the Pakistan. It says Pakistan is responsible for the majority of our problem in Afghanistan, because it believes, and which is true to the most of the extent, Taliban is Pakistani creation, and Pakistan has helped done that. So the Afghani government do not like it, which is actually Afghani perspective, and it also but Pakistan for Pakistan this kind of violence is not good, because in the Peshawar attack, on various other Lahore attack, we saw how in Pakistan is also victim of the cross-border terrorism. And in case new government come to the Afghanistan, the Durand line dispute will have to be decided. What is Durand line? Durand line, remember, it can be asked in PT, is the line which divides the Pakistan and Afghanistan. It was done by the British government when it was ruling India. So this Durand line is contested in between the Afghan and Pakistan. They do not have completely decided border in between India and Afghanistan. Often that became the reason that that Afghanistan and Pakistan are not at good terms. And also from Afghani perspective, it says that Mr. Ghani has so far failed in bringing peace to Afghanistan. In fact, it has not been able to bring the different groups together like Pashtuns. And we know Afghanistan have various of the different kind of tribal people living in there. They fight with each other. It is very important for a responsible leader to be there and bring peace among themselves as well. Next is it talks about Chinese perspective, that how China was China do not like America, but it was comfortable with American military perspective. Why? Because it says because of Afghan, at least the terrorism was controlled to an extent. Now China is worried the moment America will withdraw, it will see the spillover in the Xinjiang provinces. So even China wants the peace to the extent that it will not hesitate for asking the UN intervention, which might not be good for India. India has always supported of the peace process. Remember this line, this is very important and you can quote it anywhere. Whenever the question is about India's neighbor or India's neighboring country, Afghanistan per se, which can ask not only UPSC but even like BPSC and UPPCS are very good at asking the questions like that. That in a case of Afghanistan, we want the process to be Afghan led, Afghan owned and Afghan controlled. This is what India want. But it also says that India's policy was very it acted as a peripheral player. It didn't play an active role, and that's why it didn't even talk to Taliban, because we believe that Taliban is dominated, like controlled by Pakistan. So if Taliban come to the power, Pakistan will get the control, which is true. But keeping hands off may not serve our interest. So this article is against keeping hands off policy. Then it suggests that first of all for Mr. Ghani to dissolve the current government and form a government which even have Taliban representative, because dialogue is much better than staying ahead and Taliban for continuing to violence. Second is reduce the tension between India and Pakistan, because reducing tension in between two country will have a very stabilizing effect in Afghanistan. So this is what article was about, and this is Afghan peace dialogue. Done with this, we'll move with the next article. Next important article was expanding the scope of POCSO. In this article, it again talks about the POCSO. POCSO is a very important article to the article says it is to protect the children from sexual offenses like sexual assault, sexual harassment, pornography, etc. For which this Protection of Children from Sexual Offence Act was brought. Now, what is the issue? The issue says that one of the most important is it is not lined with the UN Convention on Right of Child, because the Convention on Right of Child also deals with historical child abuse cases. Now, what is historical child abuse cases? Historical child abuse cases that are incidences that have happened in the past but are reported late. Now, why incidences are reported late? It is very important to understand, because the same issue is being seen in the Protection of Women from Sexual Harassment Act, that there is also a time limit, and this time limit may not do justice to the victim. Why? Because it says that first of all, many of the harassment are intrafamilial abuse. So people don't want to go against family. Sometimes kid or the victim do not understand the gravity of what has happened to them. It takes them years. And child has a repressive memory. They tend to forget something like that, but it has a psychological impact on them which stays with them. Next is accommodation syndrome. That is, if the child keeps a secret, believing that nobody is going to believe them, when with this kind of behavior comes in them, they accommodate with it. So this accommodation syndrome is actually what is keeping child from not speaking. So this is not and some things like that should be taken care of, because this is a very genuine case often with children. So this says this article that POCSO does not deal with historical child abuse cases. So it says, and then it says the challenges in this will be CRPC, because in CRPC magistrate is prohibited from taking the cognizance of cases beyond certain specific time period, which is we have seen in the POSH Act, we are seeing now in POSCO Act, even under section 354 of the IPC, where the modesty of women is actually violated. This is an example the article gives, that after 3 years the magistrate is not going to register a case. Second, it says that there is a lack of evidences. There is only 5% chances that you will find the evidences after that many years. So it says in this case, are altogether different kind of procedure is required. But we lack the procedural guidelines as well. And even though in 2018, Ministry of Women clarified that there should not be a time limit, but it has not been made a part of law. So this is how the article suggests. It says, First of all, you can follow international best practices. How UK has a detailed guidelines on prosecuting cases of child abuse that include even historical cases, because altogether a very different process has to be applied, because only because you cannot have evidences from normal process, there is only 5% chances. Second, it says that you need to reform and revise your existing laws which do not accommodate it. And third is, government should frame guidelines how to like deal with these cases. So this is a strong argument, and you can actually write how in POSCO like POSCO Act suggestion like this has to be made and it has to be amended to accommodate the historical abuse case. And I would like suggest you not only this, use the word historical abuse case, not only POSCO but POSH Act also has the same issue. So accommodate some these kind of lines in the main answer, which will help you fetch more marks. Next is, there was a COVID related article which says that India, which has a population of 600 million people to be vaccinated, only 20 million vaccine shots are available for the entire month. In such a scenario, how are we going to vaccinate the entire population? It says the reason is inadequate coordination between state and union government, and it is building its argument on that only. It says the article says, first of all, there is a lack of raw material. You do not have the adequate capacity to vaccinate all the people. Second is, then the entire strategy that you have brought under the liberalized and accelerated phase 3 strategy of COVID-19 vaccination, it promotes unhealthy competition between the state, because you have left it to the state to even bargain with the vaccine providers, the companies that are manufacturing it, because of which different states have different rates. Some people, like some states are getting it cheap states, some cheap states are getting it higher rates. There is no uniformity of rates. For public and private sector it is different, and there is no uniform rate available in there. And it says that not only domestically, even in international market, like state are needing vaccine and they have to separately negotiate, because of which they're losing bargaining power, because India as a nation then will be more powerful at bargaining than Delhi as a state and Karnataka as a state. It says that this fragmented approach isn't favoring India at any cost, because we are making by this process vaccine costly, and also we are actually wasting our money, which are already scarce at this time. So we are making vaccine costly and we are wasting our resources. So the article says, in that scenario, the suggestion is to bring a uniform vaccine price for all the states, because many so that this price disformity can be gone. Second, it says target the priority population which is more vulnerable, because right now providing the vaccine, like saying the vaccine be provided to all, in such a cases like vulnerable population, we may lose hand at them. Third is, the central government should it says the central government should bear the cost of like international vaccine to be procured, and even if that is not possible, at least central government can do is coordinate with the state and make a purchase on behalf of all state. So state will be paying in that case, but at least a global tender is released by the state central government, so it will have a greater, like more effective power. And with this process, a uniform pricing policy will automatically come. So central government should be actually the one which should be pushing the tenders for the state, for all the state. Article says like this. Article says a very strong argument that the procurement should be centralized, but the distribution should be decentralized, which has been the policy for the past vaccination policies as well. So this is how article concludes. So it says that Article 21 of the Constitution provide the right to health in a very accessible, available and affordable manner, and government feels in there it is actually taking away the right, Article 21 of the people. So this is how it concludes. So with this, we are done with the major articles of the day. Thank you so much for staying with us, and stay at home, stay healthy and stay safe, and stay connected to eCube IAS. We help you prepare for the civil services in a very simple manner.